Good morning to you. It's 7:36 here in the West and 6:36 in Los Angeles. And it's a little chilly, but not super chilly here in the West. I know on the East, boy, they got a ton of snow, didn't they? Wow. Yeah, I've seen reports of up to 10 inches of snow in some places. Maybe even more in your neck of the woods. So put in the chat what you... how much snow you got or didn't get, for that matter, and what is the temperature right now this AM Monday. Let me do Monday. Yeah. Well, we can celebrate life right now, and we have that opportunity. But over the weekend, on the second day of Hanukkah, many people can't celebrate. They've got to grieve, and all because some father and son, sons of bitches, shot up a beach were people who were innocent, but they lacked only that they didn't have the same religion as the son of a bitches who shot them. And you have to wonder in your brain and in your heart, why? Innocent people playing on the beach get shot. And then there's stories out where 3 cops had an opportunity to put these sons of bitches down. 2 of them were women, and they hid themselves rather than shoot these fuckers. And it wasn't the only terrorist event that happened around the world, but extremely tragic. So you have to kind of wonder, is Islam compatible with Western society? And I don't think all people who follow the ideology of Islam are evil. I believe that Islam is evil, but at its core, because of the inconsistencies that are in it, and the fact that it's just an ideology and not a religion, is the same thing that I feel with Christianity. There's inconsistencies in Christianity and the faiths that, I mean, that is a religion, so to speak, an ideology as well, but what they do sometimes in the name of their God is terrible in what they've done in the past. Is Christianity compatible with Western society? That's the question. So if you have an opinion one way or the other of either of those two, put it in the chat and, we can discuss it. But you can't say one is innocent and the other's not, and vice versa. My personal faith, which many of you know if you've been here for any length of time, knows that I follow after the teachings of Yeshua. And although I'm not a Jew and I'm not a Christian in the sense of today, because I don't even know how to define a Christian today, I follow what we would term Christ. And if that makes you a Christian, then all right. But I don't know. And many follow Islam and Muhammad, and I find that bewildering. One is a freedom, and the other one is slavery, and I find that very difficult to partake of. But we're today, the modern man is confused and conflated so many things in surviving and trying to get up and over somebody. It's like, crabs in a bucket. Each one will pull the other one down until there's all but one crab living. And maybe he gets out of the bucket, maybe he doesn't. But tearing at each other is just not the way to do it. What are the goals? Your goals, my goals. I know that there are some that equate Islam with Baal and the ancient religion of Baal, and Christianity is a bit confusing, to tell you the truth. There's so many sectarian groups in it. I think if you just follow the teachings of Yeshua, then, and let it be defined as that, then I'm okay with that. But No, there's so many different things. So many different things. I'm not confused about myself and what I'm following, but you may be in what you're doing. And sectarianism is another ideology where you choose not to, one way or other. That's a choice. See, it seems to be always a choice, right? Whether you're a-religious or non-religious or religious. I hate the term religion. Myself, I don't use it. And I'm just trying to understand why these sons of bitches shot up those innocent people, and my heart grieves for them, and it makes me pretty damn angry, to tell you the truth, on a lot of it. But how do you deal with it? How do we all deal with it? And what are your thoughts on what's going on out there in the world today? I love the country I live. Well, shut up. AI's trying to take over. Yeah, there's no AI allowed on this site here, so there's only one bot, and it's generated. Simple, but I don't know. This stupid phone started talking. Had to kill the damn thing. Throw it across the room, and very close to doing that. But the intrusion of all. What makes... I guess you have to decide, do you want 72 virgins, whether they be male or female, when you get to heaven? If there is such a place called heaven, Yeshua didn't talk much about it, if I remember. He talked about a place where there's mansions in his Father's kingdom. And there's another 15 minutes left of this monologue. But so then what is what is it all for? We learn that through Yeshua that sin does not inherit the kingdom, and you can't inherit the kingdom unless you're born again, and how to be born again and all that. Even that has been so watered down, so misrepresented, so conflated with get-rich schemes and dominance in Christianity that's why I say I'm not a Christian in today's sense. I'm a follower of Yeshua. I don't follow Jesus, because Jesus is Zeus, the son. That's the etymology of the name for those who don't understand what they do. Although I think Yeshua understands that we call him Jesus, and we're following him. He's made excuses for us because we're stupid. But once you learn his name is Yeshua, it's hard to revert back to Jesus, the Son God, the God of the Son, and the early pagan religions that used it and manipulated that all the way back into oblivion, it seems. I follow a Jewish guy who was the son of God, the creator of all things. And he taught me how to hear from God. He taught me how to converse with God, and taught me how to have a relationship with God, my Father. And he taught me how to live life based on that. So if you call that a religion, okay, then that's a religion. An ideology is Now, let me define what ideology is, because that may help. Is a system of ideas and ideals, especially one which forms the basis of economic or political theory and policy, such as communism and socialism and all the others. You know, it's like ideologies form operating principles of running a society. Authoritarianism, socialism, capitalism, theocracy, imperialism, liberalism. These are ideologies. So, me telling you how to live your life, that is using an ideology. Yeshua said he heard from Papa, and he did the things that he heard, or he spoke those things, and then he'd seen Papa doing things, and he did those things. He never took ownership of them. He says, I'm just following what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing. And he said if he laid his life down for others, the highest form of love, because you only have one life, that Papa promised that he would raise him from the dead. And our religion says that that's exactly what happened. Without the resurrection, Christianity is dead in its base form. I don't know what Islam teaches, other than if you're an infidel, they can kill you, they can rape you, they can steal from you, and they can do all manner of evil because you're not Islamist. Whereas Christianity doesn't teach that, at least the form that Yeshua taught. He says if your enemy asks you or tells you to walk a mile with him, you walk 2. If he asks for your jacket, you give him your coat 2. Or he asks for your shirt off your back, you give him your coat 2. You go out of your way. Teaching the principle that what's expected of you is one thing. It's like you go to work and you're paid to do a job, and you look for more than just your payment. I'm sorry, you don't get anything. It's what you do up and above that you gain. And that's, I think, what he was trying to say in a sense. That you can win people over and influence people by loving them even when they don't deserve love, or that you don't even know. And his teachings are to have you have a higher perspective than just yourself, a selfish, self-absorbed ideal where you want to rule somebody else, or you think everybody else should be the same, or, capitalism, I don't know what basic capitalism is, just, it's feast or famine, or no matter what, you can get over on somebody. Theocracy is a religious ideology that, your religion is it, that's it, and everybody should follow it, and if you don't, you die. And that's not what Yeshua said. And imperialism is continuing to grow, right? And liberalism, which is, probably they can put republicanism in there too, right? But yeah, those definitions, I'll let y'all comment below on what you think on all those are. But the differences between Islam and Christianity, I think, is pretty self-evident. And I think you can figure that out yourself. A system of ideas and with functions which given a society to make its institutions, customs, practices, and beliefs appear normal or natural. Because they are constantly reinforced within a society, members have a great deal of difficulty seeing and analyzing their own ideologies, much as it must be hard for fish to see water, as one person puts it. And I think that that's kind of interesting because the tearing down of Western society is where my questions, initiated. The breakdown of Western society, because the infighting of ideologies and different ideologies, or competing ideologies, I should say, socialism and capitalism and communism and liberalism and Christianityism and Islamism, and there's Buddhism as well, all these other ideologies, is on how mankind kind of works together to solve issues or gain popularity or dominate society itself as a whole. Can the individual rise up and change it? Can an individual change society? And what role does he have or she have in that matter? I wonder. I bring these questions up because there's a lot of things going on in our world today. That even Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy, I think it is, she says Islam is incompatible with Western values and rights because it's an ideology that is warring with all the other ideologies such as capitalism, liberalism, and socialism. And what is Christianity? Christianity doesn't war with any of those, other than Christianity has tenets that says God says this is abhorrent to him, or if you serve one deity, you can't serve him. And him is, it's not a her, it's a him. Because he's father, it's not saying that he's mother. He doesn't have a matrix. The earth is our matrix. And how we treat our earth is relevant there. But I found that interesting question. And, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, she didn't mention Christianity. Is it incompatible with values and rights? But I have to bring that to the forefront in my monologue here because I think it should be equally challenged. And like I said, I'm a follower of Yeshua and his teachings, but in the name of religion, so many things, so many people have died. And we have to wonder why. And we look at the war in Ukraine, competing ideologies started that war. And they're locked down and it's not going to stop. I don't see it stopping. I see Russia losing 1,300 people every single day on the battlefield, and Ukraine losing 700 a day. And it's for what? That's only one portion. And then you see sons of bitches shooting innocent people for no freaking reason. And another image I've seen where some young white girls walking home, and a couple of for lack of a better word, black girls jumped her because she's white. What has caused this? What is the impetus that our society is breaking down, that innocence is being trampled upon, whether it be an individual walking home from school, or people playing on the beach, or people in a church worshiping, or people in a country wanting to be independent of anybody's other ideology and just want to live life. Now, do I think the Ukrainian government is innocent? No, I do not. They've been warring for some time over there in the Donbass. However, I think Russia has created that war by infiltration into the Donbass. And yeah, they speak Russian and they also speak Ukrainian. One group trying to wipe out the language of another group, and the history and the memories of one group being more important than another, such as what's going on in Syria even today. Syria is falling apart, and yet our inner cities are falling apart here in the United States. There's evil upon our lands, and evil is permeating everything, and it's gotten into our laws, it's gotten into our governance, and it's gotten into so much is corrupt. It's almost to the point where people will start losing faith because there's no hope. And some people would say, nah, there's hope in Christianity. Is there? Is there hope there? Oh, we're hoping for a new world, this and that, and we're going to get caught up in the sky. And well, what about us here, right now? Oh, we just don't worry about it. Jesus is coming back, and he's going to take us away. Well, when's he going to do that? Well, we don't know. All right, what do I do now? Well, just have faith. Well, I have plenty of faith in his ability, in God's ability, matter of fact. And the faith that he resurrected from the dead. So I have that. But evil is permeating the world. It's real. Evil is there. Evil's found in our religions. It's found in our governments. It's found in our neighbors. It's found in ourselves. Do we dare tackle that type of thing? I don't even know what to call it. I can only imagine the parents of the 13-year-old girl who was shot and killed by one of the two son of a bitches that did it for joy. Now, I think the son, his father and son who did it over there in Sydney, Australia, his son died right then. Somebody shot him, and he's still shooting. He's wounded. He's not dead yet, for last I read. But what's going to push back on this ideology? How do you combat it? You can't combat it with good, can you? You can't eradicate it. It's permeated almost every society in the world today. And I don't know what draws people into Islam. Maybe fear? You either join us or we kill you because you're an infidel. And we can do whatever we want. And our God says it's okay. Is that what the war is really about? Is that what it's all about? It's not the taking of land that somebody else has. There's only so much land in the world, but somebody else wants what somebody else has. So they go out and steal it and kill for it. That's prevalent everywhere. How do you tackle these things in life? Yeah, your hope's in Jesus, but what do you mean by that? How do you explain that to somebody else? Yeah, calmness. Christmas present is having all of us. Yeah, I agree. Knowing each and every one of you, and more than just you know, as a name, I love it. I love the fact that we have that ability, that opportunity to get to know and develop relationships and the like. As I read chat, but I don't want to have people follow a religion already on an ideology. I mean, really? Hope is the feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen, a belief in a better future involving trust, will, and pathways for action, crucial for resilience and action, driving individuals to overcome challenges and work towards goals, offering both psychological strength and physical health benefits, and can refer to various organizations. That's what hope is defined by the dictionary, a feeling of expectation and desire for a certain thing to happen. When you're hoping in Jesus, Dub, maybe he's hoping in you. That he has an expectation and desire for you to have things happen, for you to do something, for me to do something, for calmness to do something, and for everybody else. Yes. Yeah, I agree with you, Dub. Hoping that I follow him and follow his teachings. Yeah. Why? Because why? Why is he hoping that you follow his teachings? Does he want to grow a church? Does he want to grow an ideology? Does he want to grow something? I mean, if we just boil it down to a non-believer's point of view, then that's kind of where I'm trying to come from, which is very hard because I'm a follower of Yeshua. So even Islam knows of Yeshua, and they say follow him to some degree. Yeah, he gives us free will. Yeah, correct. Yeah, for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whomever believes in him shall have the opportunity to obtain everlasting life. So, Yeshua came for a reason. That if we believed through him unto God, that we would be given. So I guess our hope is that we will obtain everlasting life. But what is everlasting life? John 17:3. That they know you, Father, the only true God, in addition to the one you sent, Yeshua. And he goes on to further, that they may be one even as we are one. So if he defined what everlasting life is, how is knowing God and knowing Yeshua and being one with them, following them and such, everlasting life? What is everlasting life? I mean, that's the Christianity that where I follow, but I don't know that Christianity follows any of that today. I just don't know. You got so many fancy philosophical ideals that sometimes they don't even mention Yeshua. And it's like, what? Or, get rich and do this and name it and claim it and all that. Faith in some obscure thing rather than faith in God himself, the creator of all things. Islam has an ideology as well, and follow that ideology, and it's religious. You have to be religious is something connected to religion, a system of beliefs and practices concerning the sacred or divine, or a person who is deeply devout and faithful to such beliefs, showing strong commitment through worship, rituals, and moral conduct, but it can also be scrupulously faithful or conscientious in general, like a religious observance or a promise. A religion is a complex system of beliefs and practices and morals and worldviews connecting humanity to the sacred, divine, or supernatural, providing meaning, purpose, and moral code, often involving worship, rituals, text, and community through definitions vary, encompassing everything from organized faiths like Christianity or Islam to personal spiritual journeys and strong belief systems. A religion is a belief in a worship of superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods. What makes us any different, Islam or Christianity, in Western society? I mean, that's the question here. Or is Islam and Christianity divergent to Western society? I can add the third one, what was it? I just said it a minute ago. Starts with an S. What the hell? I just lost it. Secular, meaning not saying they don't have religion. I refuse any religion at all. If those are the three things, are they compatible with Western society? Then then we have to define what does Western society mean, right? Western society refers to cultures and nations rooted in the European traditions characterized by individualism, democracy, capitalism, rationalism, science, and Judeo-Christian ethics, evolving from Greco-Roman antiquity through the Renaissance, Enlightenment, and Industrial Revolution, spreading globally via colonialism and globalism. Though its definition is debated and evolving, key aspects including rule of law, individual rights, scientific method, technological advancement, contrasting with moral collectivist Eastern cultures. So Western society is individuals, more like characterized by individualism, whereas Eastern societies are collectivists. Now that doesn't mean families, because Western society is very familial. Western cultures' tendencies have come to define modern Western societies, including the concept of political pluralism, individualism, prominent subcultures, or countercultures. European traditions characterized by values like individualism, democracy, capitalism. So values, that's key, right? A value is the regard that something is held or deserve, held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. A person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what is important in life. Now we're getting into the depths of it. Is Islam, Christianity, compatible with an individual's principles and standards of behavior, and what's important in life? And we've kind of talked a little bit about that. Throughout Western society, from all the way back from the Grecians, through Romans and through Europeans and through Judeo-Christian values, that's where permeates Western society. So Western society began with Christianity in a sense, but our traditions predate Christianity, because Greece was before Christ and Rome was during Christ. But it appears that the values of Christianity were absorbed by Western culture. So by defining that, we can say Western culture has Christian values. Meaning, Christian values center on loving God and their neighbor, emphasizing qualities like faith, compassion, humility, integrity, forgiveness, and service, guiding believers to live righteous by following Yeshua's teachings, seeking truth, showing generosity, practicing self-control, pursuing peace and justice in all aspects of life. These principles foster personal growth, stronger relationships, and a purposeful life, moving beyond mere rules to a transformed character. That's what that means. Does Islam then, or is Islam compatible to that definition of Western society? Islamic values center on submission to God, emphasize core virtues like justice, compassion, honesty, respect, patience, and accountability, guiding Muslims to live a moral life through actions like prayer, charity, and ethical conduct, fostering a just society, protecting life, faith, intellect, and promoting family with the Quran and the Sunnah, Prophet's example, as primary guides. You gotta wonder. They sound kind of similar. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree about every knee and that will bow. Faith is here. Good morning, Faith. Um, so in that sense, it almost mimics. I mean, Islam. Um, I think it began in the 4th century, right? No, the 7th century. Islam began in the 7th century. See, around 610, in Arab Arabia. Um, yeah, and from some guy, right? Muhammad. That's not. I don't want to get in too deep into separating the two, but um, what we see today is primarily on the side of evil, Islamic terrorism. We see it in all throughout the Middle East. We've seen it in Australia. We see it here in the States. We see it throughout Europe. It's come to the point where some nations are removing Islam altogether from their borders. And there's battles for that. I mean, do we find radical Christianity out there? Sure. I mean, uh, Democratal, it's a new word. The Democrats created the KKK, and they don't like Jews or black people or brown people or people with brown eyes, green eyes for that matter. And Germans, Aryanism is a similar. Believing that one group of people, because of what they're born with, or lesser value than they are themselves. That's within the confines of Christianity. Also, there's so many things done in the name of God. I don't know. Denise, you seem kind of in the middle of things over there in the UK. How is Islam or Christianity affecting you in the UK? Let me write that in the chat. I don't know that we could be a secular society where we remove Christianity or Islam or Buddhism, for that matter, or any of the other religions. I don't know that we're capable of doing that, because individualism has a right to value that. Um, um, in the United States, our Constitution gives us, or recognizes that we have, not gives us, but recognizes that we have rights given to us by our deity. Fundamental freedoms, right to bear arms, the right not to have soldiers put in our houses and us on the streets, the rights of persons, of our court systems, our civil or criminal prosecutions and civil rights, and cruel and unusual punishment. The first 10 amendments, Bill of Rights, simply the basic American freedoms and rules. We have the right to free speech, religion, or the press. We have the right to assemble and petition our government. We have the right to bear arms. We have we don't have to house soldiers on our streets, in our houses. No unreasonable searches, a due process in self-incrimination and protection against self-incrimination and double jeopardy. We have the right to fair trials and a jury trial of our peers. No cruel, unusual punishments, because if we did something. The right to rights beyond the listed ones there, and powers not to give in the federal government to go to take over, but it should belong with the states where people vote in there. That's basically what our Constitution recognizes that every person in the world has, that specifically if they're in our borders. Freedom of speech, of religion, of press, assembly, gathering assembly, and the right to petition the government. Protects the rights to bear arms or weapons to protect ourselves and our property. Prevents the government from forcing citizens to house soldiers in their homes. Protects against unreasonable searches and seizures requiring warrants. Guarantees due process, no self-incrimination, pleading the fifth, so to speak, and protection from double jeopardy, being twice or tried twice for the same crime because they couldn't get you the first time. Sixth Amendment ensures the right of a speedy and public trial by your impartial jury to know your accusers and to have legal counsel. Guarantees a jury trial to certain civil and non-criminal cases. I mean, somebody just can't take your house because they say they own it. You go to court with that. States the people have other rights not specifically listed in this Constitution. I mean, just because it's not listed there, that doesn't mean you don't have rights. Even the Constitution recognizes that. And these things are not given by the Constitution, but it recognizes you have these things. And says the powers are not given to the federal government, but are reserved for the states, for the people. That's what the U.S. has. Now, I don't know what the U.K. has, and I don't know what Europe has, or any other Western society. So therefore, I don't think you can remove a religion, and a religion being what we've tried to explain here before, an ideology. I think you can probably remove ideologies. I mean, the KKK is an ideology. The subservience of non-whites, I think, is abhorrent. And yet, we still struggle with that in the States here. Why do people of color, or who are colored, of one complexion fighting the other complexion? How do you deal with that? I mean, I like what Martin Luther said, the content of your character. You know. And character refers to the unique combination of qualities of moral, ethical, defining a person or a thing, reputation or a person's figure in a story. So, mental qualities, moral, mental, and ethical qualities together, right? That's a combination of these things. So, morality are the principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong, good and bad behavior. That's morality. Ethical. Ethical describes actions, beliefs, or principles that align with a system of moral principles, distinguishing right from wrong, often related to the professional standards, societal norms, or personal integrity, and involves the concepts like fairness, honesty, compassion, and avoiding harm. So, the ethics of Christianity have waned over time and back and forth like waves on the seashore. But its tenets, its origins, are in the teachings of Christ and the Beatitudes in the first couple of chapters in Mark and Luke and John, for that matter. You know, the Sermon on the Mount, so to speak. That's Christianity's ethicals. And then expanded upon those by the other apostles. Mental is moral, mental, and ethical. Those are the three things that define what a character is. Not sure what they mean by mental in that definition. A trait. That's another word. Distinguishing quality or characteristic of a person. A moral trait, meaning you have a tendency to be good, to be thoughtful, to be compassionate, to consider your neighbor more than yourself. but you still have individual rights. So, in all this, defining all these terms, um, I can speak from one side. I really can't speak from the other. Islamic integrity means honest, being trustworthy, consistent in all actions, driven by faith in God's constant observation, emphasizing inner purity and fulfilling responsibilities, extending beyond mere outward actions and complete alignment of one's character and conduct with Islamic teachings and preventing deceit and building a reliable society. I find that definition contrary to what the Quran teaches. And especially when it talks about the infidels or non believers. Does Christianity teach that non believers are unworthy of anything but heaven? This Islamic says if you're an infidel, they can rape you, they can kill you, they can subserviate you, they can take what's yours. It's kind of that little bit different scale, so to speak. I don't find Christianity, from what I gather, and studying it for many, many years, better part of 45 years, closer to 50, but it don't really care about the unbeliever. You know, they want to, they don't want that doesn't belong to them. They proselytize saying, hey, come know God. And if you don't, well, that's your choice. I can't make you follow God. And just because you don't follow God doesn't mean you don't have any worth, any value. I think that's the difference between Christianity and Islam. Christianity says you still have worth even though you don't follow Christianity. That you have value, worth meaning value. Just unfortunate that their belief is you won't inherit everlasting life, or you don't have inheritance everlasting life, and you don't inherit the kingdom of God, and so you can't call upon it. And that is if you believe the kingdom of God's on this side as well as that side, so of life and death. With Christianity, we lay down on the table what we believe based on God's word, and we'll always say that you have free will to follow. Yeah, it's a choice. Yeah, I see that. Simply Sue says, government has new legislation regarding firearms ready to go. Yeah. It seems to me that Australia is the testing ground for everything that comes through Western society now. Just my opinion. Dub Diesel says, sister says, return fire. They have to include now, too many people look normal but are mental. Just look at the town hall meetings. I think partial of that is taking out corporal punishment from the family, meaning your kids are bad, so you can't whoop them. You put mom out of business, right? And there are other breakdowns too. The hate and anger that's out there in society, and the lack of self-control. I think that's one of the bigger ones, the lack of self-control. I don't like what you have to say, so I want to shoot you or I want to hurt you. It does enter my brain, I'm telling you. Um, but I say no to that because that's evil. But is Christianity compatible with Western society? I have to say yes, because a Western society has adopted Christian values, Judeo-Christian values, um, and didn't adopt Islamic values, because Islamic values are contrary to its own tenets. It doesn't allow for others to be non-believers, because they're allowed to kill them and they're allowed to abuse them, and the subservience of women is just beyond beyond. And the fear of being able to look upon a woman, and because you have desire in your heart, that's evil. I don't think that's evil myself. I think, adultery is evil, right? That's what God said in his 10 Commandments. Um, uh, Interesting to me is the list of them. The first one is, I'm the Lord your God. You shall not have any strange gods before me. You shall not take the Lord's name in vain. Means you don't swear by God's name. Meaning, I swear to God that I'm going to do this, and you don't do it, right? So don't use God as your a surety. Remember to keep holy the Lord's day, right? So the first three are all about your relationship with God and your relationship with man in relation to that relationship with God. And then it goes into honor your father and mother. You should not kill. You should not commit adultery, and should not steal. I think the other one's bear false witness. Yeah, you bear false witness against each other, and not cover your neighbor's wife. You should not covet your neighbor's goods. Wonder why he said the two different ones. Do you know why? Your neighbor's wife is not considered in God's eyes to be a good, meaning a possession. The wife is there because of her freedom to choose and of choice to be with that man. That's why it's separate. And that's a key difference within the two, Islam and Christianity. Whereas Islam, the man is dominant so much so that the woman is so subservient that the man can brutalize the woman. Christianity doesn't do that, doesn't believe that. It doesn't follow that. It doesn't teach that, because it emanates out of Judaism. And its core belief. Interesting. Don't kill. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. Don't covet what your neighbor has. Honor your father and mother. Those are living rules, so to speak, to live by. Love. He says, I am the Lord your God. You won't have any other gods before me. You should not take my name in vain. You won't swear by my name. And keep holy the Lord's day. Those three things. I think if you follow those three things, then you have a relationship, with God. Otherwise, you don't. An idiom is a phrase or expression with a figurative meaning that differs from the literal sense of its individual words, like break a leg, good luck, spill the beans, reveal a secret. I think Christianity is full of these idioms, and that's why there's been a breakdown of Christianity. Does Islam have those things? Idioms. Infidel, kill them. Infidel, rape them. Infidel, steal what's theirs or take what's theirs. It didn't belong to them. They have no value. There's a huge difference between the two. I don't believe the Bible teaches to hate, to steal, to covet, whereas Islam does. So, to answer the question that I began with, is Islam compatible with Western society? I have to say no. And trying to mold Western society to accept Islam is a fool's errand. That's what it boils down to. Yeah, you can't punish your kids because they've gone feral. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Right? Spare the rod, spoil the child. It's a popular adage meaning that children need discipline and guidance to grow into a well-adjusted adults. Withholding correction will lead them to become spoiled and maladjusted. Proverbs 13:24, those who spare the rod hate their children. You have to set boundaries. You have to see your house as a kingdom. I tell people this all the time. I'm a king in my house. My rules, my rules, my rules. I establish boundaries. First, I establish boundaries within myself, and then I establish boundaries for others in my household. There are consequences for crossing those boundaries, because if you cross the boundaries, then I have to become more than a king. I have to become a conqueror. I rise up, conquer, bring back down, and then release. I tell my wife this all the time. Not that I want to dominate her, because I don't. I need her guidance. I need her assistance. I need her to work with me, not against me. I need her companionship. I need her understanding, her visual, seeing things, and her mental. I rely upon that. We are a team. But the ultimate authority is mine. But I don't wield it to dominate her. I wield it to release her to become free. That she doesn't have to think about the things that I have to think about. And for her to blossom in her abilities as being a woman, and a less physical strength. You know, the mother of our children. I honor her in those things. I value her in those things. I do not need dominance. I naturally have dominance. I need to prefer her in her needs. And that's what being a king is. And understanding the kingdom. You cannot understand the kingdom of God unless you understand the kingdom of your own house. When I leave my house, I go and I meet other kings. And I don't assert my kingship over another man's house. Or I don't meet a king in the courtyards and fight unless one's trying to dominate the other or steal from another. You can see these things, these principles rise up in countries. Men have a mutual respect for one another. You know, I go to your house. I'm not looking at what you have in your house. I honor you, but I rarely ever tell you what I've seen in your house because I don't look at them. They're not mine. I don't covet them. But if you show me something, and like a big screen TV, oh, look at this big screen. I got an 80-inch screen. I'm going, wow, man, that's so cool. And maybe I'll go buy one for myself. But I don't want to go in there and steal it. Because my integrity, my boundaries that I set upon myself of my own kingdom, I don't need to usurp your kingdom and take from you and war with you, because that's what it's about. Other societies don't see it that way. Evil says, yeah, okay, look what he's got, man. I'm going to go steal it. Why? Because you covet. Therefore, you steal. Not only do you break one law, but you break a whole bunch of other laws. Words to live by. Far out. Anyway, that's the end of my monologue here. Sorry about that. Wow, I went an hour. I didn't think I was going to do that. Paula. Yeah. FAOFO, right? Yeah. What does it say? Man doesn't build a house unless he counts the cost. Oh, I appreciate that, Presto. A really good book recommendation about the Constitution era is entitled Indelible Ink. The Trials of John Peter Zenger and the Birth of the American Free Press by Richard Kluger. Interesting. A gripping, well-researched narrative by Zinger's fight against colonial censorship, highlighting the dramatic legal battle and its enduring impact of free speech, making it crucial, timely read about democracy's foundations. And 18th century complexity. Yeah, he was arrested for sedition. Yeah, it is timely. That's interesting there, bud. Appreciate you, Pesto. Some people call it, reviewers call it Hamilton meets John Grisham in its dramatic flair. Maybe they'll make a movie of it. Eh? Maybe they have. I don't know. I don't think I own that book, Indelible Ink, but I think I've heard of it. I think I have. I can't speak too much more. I just looked it up. Appreciate you. Appreciate your point of view there. Excuse me. Over the weekend, somebody shot up a university, Brown University. And the person that they arrested has been released because they don't believe the guy did it. A GOP student leader, Ella Cook, was murdered at Brown. Another Judaic studies professor was attacked. This is the thing about kingdoms. I believe that mankind has in his heart evil. And you conquer evil with good, but if evil won't submit, then you must eradicate it. Now, how do you eradicate it? How do you conquer evil with good? How do you conquer this mentality that taking up arms or mobs, robbing stores because you want a pair of shoes? I mean, in the society before, we would say, hey, the KKK can stand in the courtyard and spew their hate. And we have to respect their ability to because they have that right. We also have the ability to say, you won't work at my job because you're a KK, because you're incompatible with the norms. Being on air is really a challenge because I'm judged by what I say and what I don't say. And I'm just a normal dude. Hence, Joe Slick. I'm not any special. I'm not any more special than any of you. I just have a voice and I'm using it. And there we go, 8:55 here in the West. So it'd be 7:55 there in Cali, and Central would be 10:55. Yeah. Yeah. Metal Maniacs rocks, right? Anyway, current conditions and the morning report here as we do. My monologue is over. Yeah, let's get right into it. The Great Geminids. A meteor shower happens every December. And check this out. See if it's there. It is. Yeah. A meteor comes into Earth's orbit, burns up, right? That's far out, man. That's far out. Is that the same one? That's the other one. All right, there you go. The incredible Geminid meteor, Fireball, December 14th, 2025. Solar wind right now is 462. Proton density is at 3 in 3/4. Couple of C2 flares. Hey, the flares have died down. Is it still Pineapple Express in the Pacific Northwest? I don't believe it ever was, but it was definitely the. We can look it up here real quick for you. Thank you for bringing that up. Pineapple Express emanates from Hawaii. All right. And we'll see here, dirty. Hawaii is right here. So yeah, that has come down. So let's go 200. Let's see. Is that the Pineapple Express right there you're referring to? That's going into northern Cal. I think this is really what's happening in the Pacific Northwest. It's an Alaskan storm that has sucked up. But yeah, it could be the Pineapple Express. Okay. But you can see there's a high pressure up here, low pressure right here, a dip. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I appreciate you too, Faith. Big storms. The Pacific Northwest is not done, that's for sure. There's a low pressure right in the Gulf of Alaska right now, taking all that cold air, driving it up and over and over. If we looked at the eastern view of it, or across the continent, dipping all the way down into Tennessee, maybe even the upper portions of the deep south. It's definitely in the Carolinas, Georgia too. That cold snap, wow. Up at the frozen vortex coming out of the north. Is Lake Girl here? She can tell us what's going on in Montana, because she's Mrs. Montana. I know Luke is working, and I talked to him last night. He said he got a little bit of snow, and then it stopped. He doesn't expect snow until Tuesday or Wednesday. Looks like Alberta's getting pummeled pretty good. Up in Canada. Looks like a big storm hit the coast, Pacific Northwest. It's moving into northern Cal. That would suggest that the Sierra Nevada mountains and the Klamath in the north and Sierra Nevadas will get a lot of snow. In the southwest, we have a little bit of something, but it didn't develop any much. Looks like some warm air went across all the way down to Florida. Looks like a cold kind of coming in again, but some weather, but still staying warm in the south, deep south. So your Pineapple Express froze. Aren't you, Eden? Aren't you in Los Angeles? I don't think you're in the Pacific Northwest, are you? I once thought you were out in the east. 2 last night. -2? Oh, jeez. No, you're in Ohio. That's what I thought. Yeah, right. The Ohio Valley got pummeled. Yeah. A frozen. Yeah. Frozen pineapple. Yeah. 15 here last night in Tennessee. I had 3 Celsius, so I think it was about 40, 41 here maybe last night. But over here in the UK, they got a little weather in the UK. Oh, Vampy's here. It's a pineapple smoothie now. Yeah. Um, Faith, what was the temperature for you? Vampy, what was the temperature for you? Yeah, we like Vampy. She's good. Um, she's funny anyway. Little witty. Little witty. Um, there are some of I don't Timmy says 9 Fahrenheit this morning. Wow. 55 says Faith. Um, we did lose somebody who was with us for quite some time, uh, and that person has made the choice to say no longer wants to be here on this channel due to the fact that I have to play um, uh, non-copyrighted music. And I think it's pretty sad because I don't listen to it. I block it out and listen to my own. But I play the music so it's having something there. It's not dead space. But whatever. It said they won't return because of the music. It's so petty. But hey, whatever. Whatever. Moving on, right? Okay, let's get back to it. Let's look at Lasco. What's the sun doing? It needs to warm up around here, I'll tell you. Boof. Oh, something popped. Oh, it popped as it went away from us right there. Boof. That's that stuff that we had that didn't produce anything as it went across. Um, you have to remember, I think, let me draw a circle here. If that's the sun, right? And that's the Earth. I know that's bigger than it needs to be. Um, um, but see if I can grab it. I think that's probably pretty close. I just moved it out of there. Got rid of it. I think I can do this. No, I guess I can't. Well, forget about it. Do one right here. That's the size of our planet. So when we're looking at the sun, and here's another side view of it, okay? We're only seeing what we can see, right? But because of our position, we're not seeing our perspective is this. Because where we're seeing the sun, we're not actually seeing way out here and out here, I don't believe. Our satellites are showing that, but our proximity from the sun it's moving, right? It's spinning, and it takes almost 2 weeks for us to traverse. I think it's 10 days, 11 days, traverse one side. The sun is so stinking large that our perspective, is that we don't. It takes a long time to traverse the size of our the sphere. right? I think what I'm saying is just a little bit off here, but what I'm trying to get at is there's an edge of the sun that we don't see on the sides. Our satellites are not in the same position as our Earth. So when we're looking at this is actually out in front. And I think we can see it here when I do solar wind. Okay? These are the satellites that we see. All right? And they're rotating around the Earth. Here's the solar wind buffeting our magnetosphere. We have a little bit of dynamic pressure, tiny bit. Not very many protons at all, maybe up to 4. Solar wind is like 400 and lower. The BZ is in the north, so it means more activity is coming out of the north because that's where the coronal hole is. And if I show you the coronal hole, see, here we are. This coronal hole, right? And we are like right here. So this coronal hole is blowing, and it should get to us by the 17th. So it's more solar wind. It'll pick up. But generally, it's like when we don't have any so-called solar wind, we do. It's always blowing about 350 to about 400. That's the kind of the nominal that I've seen. When it gets up at 7, 8, 900, that's some solar wind, which will affect our planet. This absorbing, there's really nothing to absorb. The magnetopause, you can see, these are protons, the dark, and then the light is no protons. You can see there's no protons, and then there's a group of protons that come in, and it's computer generated just to help us visualize it. And then there's some protons there. Up to, when it gets to the dark blue, that's about 4 protons per cubic centimeter. And that's about what we're getting. When we get a lot more protons per cubic centimeter, the whole thing turns blue. And you can see the dynamic pressure upon our planet. That's the electromagnetic pressure upon our planet. There's hardly any. So, kind of like, I guess, another way, how do I explain it? And we have a ball, right? A ball sits on a bed or on a sheet or something, right? And it's taut. There's a depression. Whoop, sorry. There's a depression right through here, right? And here's the center. I don't know where I'm going with this right now. When you remove the ball, this all goes back up. So what I'm trying to get is, when there's no pressure, we can still get earthquakes. Why? Because there's no pressure, then the Earth doesn't have that force upon it, and the responding or the coming back, so to speak, there can still be earthquakes. Not that this creates, but it enhances, I think, in my opinion. So when there's not a whole lot of stuff going on, we often see that. Looking into ground magnetics, and that's why many times when we don't see any ground magnetics like what we're seeing right here, that we do get large earthquakes. I think Alaska's last 8 look just like this. So, yeah, good morning, Bob. Nice to see you. Timmy's going to cut his hair, I heard. I threw a party for it. Saying someday he won't be a hippie no more. I think it's his rebellion against what he had to do. you know, versus suppose what he wanted to do, being a part of the Navy, I guess. Navy boy. Class M chance is 25%, and Class X is down to 1. There's not but a few sunspots, and they're all really nothing. Let's see. Today being the 15th of December, I don't think he wants to be a part of the Navy no more. I'm very stubborn, he says. Nah. No. Whereas before they shaved his head for him when he had no choice, and now he has a choice. I don't want to cut it no more. 3 rocks out there, 4 rocks out there, 150 footer, 90 footer, 100 footer, 30 footer, and a huge one. 750 some odd, 760 something feet across. Right? 777 feet across. It's 2 million miles away, but it's traveling at 19.4 kilometers every second. How fast is that? It's basically 69,840 kilometers an hour. That's incredible. That's 43,650 miles an hour. A 777-foot rock traveling at 43,000 miles an hour. Jeez. That's just massive. And that's slower than Chicxulub, the one that hit and killed the dinosaurs. I don't think it was just one. I think it's more. You're moving again. Somewhere warmer, he says. Downstairs. Oh yeah, you're in a you're upstairs right now. Good, good. Don't you ever change. Always need a fireplace. Right. Whatever. You're funny. Trimmers. New map of the trimmers thing here. We can just look at this. I got to click another button. And the map is pretty. It sure is. There's a couple of... wow, I haven't seen any buzzing around down here before. Wow. Yeah, I have. I've seen that. Vibrations happening. That's it yesterday. So just a few. And then there's the trimmer log. Inventive. Yeah. Okay. Pardon me. Hold on. Oh, God, it came right up on me. Sorry about that. Yeah, this is the ETS event of summer of 24. We covered this quite thoroughly. And they didn't cover the other ones too much that was happening. Now my ex wants us to go all over to his place on Christmas Day. Nah, don't do it. No. Do what you want to do, sweetie. Take your boyfriend. Yeah. Festival of Lights Have a feast. Make them cook. I'm going to be quiet. Good. Me, him, my kids, my boyfriend, and his girlfriend. All right. Hey, it's all about family and setting difficulties aside and remembering that Christ's birthday, which is in September, they celebrate in December for a reason. I don't want to go into it, but hey, whatever. Buoys, do we got any drunk Chinamen out there? Let's see. No drunk Chinamen. Yeah. If you don't know what drunk Chinaman is, you got to figure it out. And, hang around a while, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Yeah, they're not German U-boats. What about Ruskies? Are there any Ruskies? Yeah, there's no doubt. No doubt. All right. So none's happening. For those who need to know where Uranus is, it's right up here. Jupiter's visual, so is Uranus. All the other ones are not. But Jupiter's been pretty close. So you'd think its magnetic pole would kind of create some earthquake activity. I haven't seen that. If I back it up, no. Oh, you know what? We're coming closer to it, so it may have an effect. Let's see if the closest time will be what? Oh, January 8th. So, yeah, that's the closest time Jupiter. So it may have an effect upon our planet. Opposite of the sun, so in the nighttime, I guess you look out there, you'll see Jupiter. Yeah. For those who always want to know. Power outages. I'm not seeing many power outages, which is real. Well, Texas 5,000. It's always Texas has an issue in the wintertime. Yeah. 6,000 in California. 2,000 up in Oregon. Near 7,000 in Washington. Has to do with the weather, I believe. Yeah. That site's been updated too. Crazy. Yeah. The volcano news today. December 15th, 2025. 10 days till Christmas, everybody. Yeah. Bah humbug, somebody said. In the news today, Santa Guido, Fuego, Popo, Simiru, Ibu, Dacono, Reventador, Nevada del Ruiz. Western Dal volcano. I don't know where Western Dal is. I don't even know where that is. Stratovolcano and the Aleutians. Okay. Why the hell they call it Western Dal? West Dal. Yeah. There you go. Minor activity. Eruption warning 3 out of 5. Hey. Okay. It's right on the peninsula of Alaska. All right. So, Purus volcano again. They're in Colombia, just south of Nevada del Ruiz. Explosive activity is continuing. Estimated 18,000 feet was it. And let's see, what's the height of Purus? 12,000. No, 15,000, sorry. So, 2,000 foot Paparini. Popocatépetl over there in Mexico City. Just no further emissions. It's quiet again. It's kind of weird. I don't understand that one. Timmy, thank you for helping Vampy out. You're a good man. You did 25 last week? Was that last week? I don't even remember. Last week was a blur. Personal issues at the house I don't want to bring up here. Popo, yeah, we talked about Popo. Ibu, Dacono, 6,000 feet out of 4,600. Ibu. They're in Halmarhara. Fuego, they're in Guatemala, near Guatemala City. Small emissions happening. Reventador in Ecuador, 15,000 of 11,000. Simiru, over the largest mountain in Java, Indonesia, still erupting. Santa Guido in there, Guatemala again. No emissions reported. The Western Dow, we talked about that already. Purus, we talked 18,000 at Purus. And what's it? It's 15, yeah. There we go. So it's, yeah, erupting. Popo just built, no, whoosh. And it'll queep there. Nevada del Ruiz. In Colombia here, no emissions to report. Shishaldin volcano, which is right next to the other one. Interesting. It's not been reported. Not provided. Okay, so Shishaldin and then this one, Western Doll, they're right next to each other. So interesting how should be right down here. Here's West Dahl, and here's Shishaldin. Interesting how both of these are in the news. Is there something happening out here? Well, back in, what is that, July 16th, we had a 7.3, and that's what started it with later in July, not too long after, probably the next week, we had the 8.8 in Kamchatka. But now we have two volcanoes that are activated. That's interesting. When we had, with Kamchatka, we had another 5 volcanoes that became activated over there. Nevada del Ruiz in Colombia. Shishaldin, not provided. Dacono, Purus, Fuego. Okay, now we're into Sunday, so, all right. See if anything popped over the weekend. Well, they're not going to show me. What the hell? Yeah, let's go right into the earthquakes. Quick look. No, nothing. All right. Just a little dinger. So let's go 12 hours back. Looking for 4 and aboves. There's 4.5 in Mindanao, Philippines. And we'll scroll up so you can see these things happening. There you go. Yeah, Mindanao, Philippines is southern Philippines. 132 deep. That's pretty damn deep. Bali region had a 2.6. It was 49 deep. El Salvador had a 53 deep, 3.4. West Texas, a couple of 2s. The Nides region, 53, 2.9. Antofagasta, Chile comes in at a 98 depth 4.3, and in Philippines 37 at 30. But San Francisco had another 2.8. We've been seeing quite a bit of San Francisco earthquakes. Oops, sorry, that's GE. On the USGS, let's see where this is happening. Right up in here. Over the weekend, we've seen these. Interesting that that's happening because we had San Ramon going off, which leads right into this, as you can see. Here's the Hayward fault that leads right into it, and then this one right into it as well. Yeah, San Ramon on the Pleasanton fault, and then Rogers Creek fault. And let's just say this. Glen Ellen. Okay, Glen Ellen had a 4.0 yesterday. So it appears the greater San Andreas fault system, which all these are part of it, as the San Andreas is the plate boundary, right? But we have all these splays, and then pizza boxes, and from that, and then mountain building from that, and then this one as well being pushed up, and then all the erosion that takes place in the valleys and the like. So this San Andreas goes all the way deep. These other fault systems aren't as deep as the San Andreas. And the San Andreas is separating the North American continent or plate with the Pacific plate. And these splays are all due to the San Andreas. So that's when these things are breaking, is because the San Andreas is moving. You can even see evidence up here. We got a little small dinger right there. And then also down here, because that's all part of the Pacific plate, which Los Angeles is on the Pacific plate. San Francisco is on the North American plate. And a differentiation there. And I lived most of my life on the Pacific plate. Now I live on the North American plate. Calmness lives on the Pacific plate. And so does a few of our other members. Chop, chop, she says. Okay. Antofagasta, Chile had a 4.3 at 98 depth. That's right up in here, northern Chile. Deep Oaxaca 3.105. It appears that I'm seeing a lot of deep quakes. They're not necessarily strong, just a lot of deep quakes, normally where I would see normal quakes. New Mexico 2.1. Fiji says 606 deep. 606 deep. That's crazy. 5, basically. So we're looking upwards of a 5.5, 1,000 miles around Fiji. Anywhere around here. Right? 5.3 Kamchatka. It hasn't stopped. It has slowed significantly, but 5.3. 4.7 Coquimbo, Chile. So 5 bouncing back and forth here. .1 Mediterranean Sea. Where's this one at? Yeah, just underneath Italy in that. Western Turkey a 4.0. 4.5, Kuril Islands. So 4 power and 5 power up in the Kurils and Kamchatka still. That's 7 hours ago. .7, a Mid-Atlantic Ridge down here. All right. New Zealand, Northern Ireland, came in with a 4.0, 35 depth. So we have a couple little dingers right here, ding ding. That's where the plate boundary goes right through there, like a wringing of a rag. And 2 earthquakes, boom boom. Southern Yukon 3.9 or 2.9 actually. Still having some quakes up there in Yukon. 4.0 in New Zealand. Fiji again. 590. A little bit more shallow and less at 4.2. So 2 good sized quakes in Fiji. Philippines 4.0. Southern Philippines. SoCal 2.3. And then Greece comes in with a 3.5. So that's pretty much it. So you're up to date on all the stuff, all the earthquakes. Again, looking at deck right now. Sorry about that. These are the, it's Dynamic Earth Community Live. You can find them on Twitch. Just use those words together, and you'll see all the props that we have there. So, well, it's 9:35 here in the West. I am going to replay Saturday's rabbit hole for you. And so stay tuned. I figure I'll be doing that over the new year because some of you just plain don't see it. Not that you're not interested in it's Saturday, I guess. Y'all have dates, you know. No dates for me other than it's Saturday. You know. But anyway, hope you enjoy it. Love y'all. Remember, don't get none on you.